Hey everybody, for this next video, I felt like if I didn't do an intro video that it wouldn't do it justice, because if we just lay on the footage, now we have some pretty good footage of it, of this bird from my hunters, I think the day before or 2 days before. Anyways, around the same time, and so I've had encounters with this bird pretty much all spring. Kay, one of our hunters for our first group, she stayed on this bird the whole time, and this is one of those birds that will drive a turkey hunter absolutely insane and crazy. Matter of fact, that's why I went after him again, because it drove me crazy. This bird will gobble on the roost and cut you off, and once he gets on the ground, he will still gobble at you, but I think he's doing it to keep his tabs on you where you're at. You know, I think I might be giving him too much credit, but we've had 3 encounters with this bird on the ground gobbling at our hunters, and he would just outskirt them the whole time and would never come in. I almost had him almost fanned him in for Kay opening weekend, but some hens came out in between me and him and led him the other way. So we've had multiple encounters with this bird. He has no problem gobbling, at least on the roost and first thing when he gets down on the ground. Now the rest of the day, he doesn't say a word. He's just a drumming machine after that. So anyway, long story short, after opening weekend and all the encounters that Kay had with him, we weren't able to put her on him. And then my hunters this past weekend saw him. I think they seen him twice. But I knew he was coming to this pond in the afternoon, and matter of fact, some of the footage you'll see will be from my hunter's footage the day or 2 days before I killed him. He comes into that pond, and he always comes in usually from the same spot. So, and around this pond, there's nothing but real tall, like dead sunflower stems, so they're probably waist high, mixed in with a few mesquites and stuff. So it's not very good cover outside of this fence that's around the pond. So you'd have to set up pretty much right on the fence, or there's hardly any cover inside the fence. So it's it's kind of a hard decision as far as getting a good shot. Matter of fact, if they would have been able to get a clean shot through, they would have shot this bird when they went there. So what I decided to do after my hunters left, I was going to give them one more shot. And so I decided just to hunt on my belly, go right up to the fence, lay down, and put my gun and rest it on the fence and shoot him in that clearing whenever he gets in the pond. Sounded like a great plan. And little did I know what this hunt would fold out to be. This is one hunt out of all the hunts I've ever been a part of. I wish somebody would have been back filming the whole thing, because it was the craziest hunt I've ever been a part of, and I felt like I needed to explain it a little bit more to give this hunt justice. But anyway, I set up on this bird where I thought he was, and because I've seen the video from my hunters that there were so many hens, so many other birds coming in here, I used every decoy I had to try to simulate the same situation when he showed up. So I put 4 decoys in the far corner of this fenced-in pond, and then I went and set up on the other corner. I knew it wasn't going to be much for video, but this bird intrigued me so much I really didn't care if we get on video or not. So I laid down in the other corner. So I'm laying there. I did call in a 2-year-old, but he stayed out of range on the other side. Some hens came in early, but not much after that. And so I laid there for, I don't know, about 3 hours in the sun, just baking. And then I hear clucks from some hens. And all I did from starting point, the whole day, I yelped maybe a couple of times, but real soft. I got that 2-year-old to gobble just by soft yelps. And then I just clucked the rest of the time. I didn't cut, didn't get aggressive, nothing. And then I heard 2 hens clucking, and they came in right where I was expecting him to come from. So I started, getting a little excited. And then 3 or 4 more hens came in. And then I lay there for a while. I was like, man, he may not show up. and then all of a sudden I hear the ground shake with drumming behind me. And so I couldn't move. You know, instead of coming where the hens came, he came in from behind me, and he would shake the ground with his drum, just like crazy. So anyway, he ends up walking, I don't know how close, because I was afraid to move a camera or use my phone, but it was real close behind me. I'm talking just a few yards probably. And so he walks behind me and walks all the way around. And what I'm thinking is maybe that 2-year-old that I'd seen earlier walked around. There's a food plot behind us. And so that Tom went up to that food plot and just started drumming. He was staying in the same place, started drumming. So I'm guessing that he's not going to come to the pond, and he doesn't want that 2-year-old anywhere around his hens. So I start belly crawling towards the food plot. And anybody who knows South Texas, it is not fun to belly crawl. We got stickers and thorns and random barbed wire pieces. Anyway, so I start crawling up to the food plot, and I get within about 20 yards of the food plot, and I don't hear him drum anymore. It's like, well, you know, I started clucking at him just real soft, and I didn't hear him drum anymore. It's like, well, maybe he's about to peek his head, because the food plot was right over top of a small hill. So I was just looking for his head to pop up, and I was ready to shoot. And so about 15-20 minutes go by. I don't hear him drum or nothing, and then I hear him drumming behind me. I never seen him or heard him walk to the sides of me. So he's back in the pond, or close to the pond. So I'm like, well, great. And so I had to low crawl all the way around and get back close to my decoys, because he had worked his way on the other side. And so I worked my way, crawled my way all the way back to where my decoys are, and he finally decided, you'll see when I set the camera up and everything in the video, he is just off of camera and he is drumming. He is shaking the ground. He does not want his hens anywhere near my Jake decoy. So he's been pushing one by one to the other side of the pond. And so I'm laying down. I really can't see him, but there's a hen real close to my closest feeder hen, and she knocks the feeder hen over. And it's just off of camera. And he did not like that. And so you'll hear a cluck, and that's when I decided just to raise up with my gun at the ready, and he was about 40 yards from me. So I shoot, and you can see it hit him because he kind of lowers his head, and then he jumps up and starts to fly, and so I shoot him again, and that's when it folded him over, and he lands right in the fence. And so he's flopping in the fence and ends up cutting like most of his tail fan off. So I was heartbroken at that, but needless to say, it was a crazy hunt that took every ounce of water I had in me out between the sun and just being in close quarter combat with this bird for so long. I was completely drained afterwards, but it was just a crazy hunt, one that I will never forget. Probably tops all hunts. I would have given anything for it to be on video. But I'll let you watch the rest of the footage. I'll quit talking, but I just felt like this bird deserved a little bit of intro, because he was one of them ones that will just drive a turkey hunter crazy. So hope you enjoy the rest of the footage that we do have of him. And it was only my second bird to take at Mesquite Tree Ranch, and boy, this was one I was happy to get.